In the world of astrology, many things can be uncovered.
The world or the universe?
I don't know. I don't have a spaceship, so I'm only limited to the former.
You don't have an Artemis?
I don't have an Artemis. Ain't got no Apollos, no Creeds, nothing.
Creed?
Yeah, Apollo Creed.
6 feet from the edge? Oh.
And I'm thinking... Apparently some moon was stuck in Uranus's orbit, and certain signs are about to feel a lot of relief as of when you hear this podcast, pretty much April 25th. Yeah. Wild.
What's happening?
My sign's on there. Well, my sign's on there. Leo.
Okay.
Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Okay.
Scorpio and Aquarius.
Those 4?
Yeah, the zodiac signs ending the hardest 7 years of their lives on April 25th is what it says.
Great. So no relief coming for Caps.
Yeah, I mean, no, not for you at all.
Lovely.
But on the bright side, I guess I'm going to slow down or something. We'll see if that changes the show.
Cool. We'll bring some of your zen this way.
I don't think you're welcome. I'll just, I can send that UPS direct.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Zell that over.
Yeah, Zell that over. Zell me some zen.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now it sounds like you're moving that fake dip across borders.
Fake dip? What?
Yeah, zen. You're never seen anybody zenning?
Huh?
Yeah, ZYN.
Oh.
It's like a little nicotine pouch. It's a little fake dip.
All of your words, I was registering other English words that are said the same and spelled differently and was very confused. Like, I was thinking dip like for chips. And I was like, huh?
Coming up, we'll try to confuse Sean some more. We're going to talk about how, if you follow me on Substack, I decided to bring grading back to the people. Draft analysts spend all year taking college athletes and giving them these grades. Well, we gave them some grades. We catch up as much as we can on whatever might be real with the Diana Russini story, because that's exploded. Now all of a sudden, everybody's got pictures of them. The Onion bought InfoWars, maybe? F1 fixed the cars? Will Max Verstappen stay? This is Wit and Grit.
Welcome to Wit and Grit, where Ian and Sean break down sports betting, pop culture, or whatever's on their minds. The Wit and Grit Podcast.
Shout out.
What's that?
New t-shirt. New t-shirt. Want to show it off?
You're killing it.
Album for Red and the Paper Flowers. They destroyed it when they came into town. Band out of Tennessee.
Okay.
Great folksy acoustic type band.
Love some local music.
Oh, and just the venue was so receptive. They played stuff from their new album, and then they even played us some stuff that's going to be on their new album. So, yep, not to brag, but pulled a little move like you did, because I know you enjoyed Record Day. I brought home some vinyl. We got brought home the vinyl. My vinyl collection's actually gotten a lot larger lately.
Nice. It's a fun one. Mine's I need new storage. Just took a look and if I buy another one, it's gonna be a tight squeeze.
Okay.
Which is a good problem to have, if you ask me.
Unlocking new problems.
Yeah, right.
So the NFL draft came around, and this is something we did on the podcast last year, but we didn't write it down anywhere. But we tried to come up with a system last year, if you remember, Sean, of grading the mock draft analysts. We looked at Mel Kiper, Dane Brugler, and I think maybe if Todd McShay's was public, we had him out there. We didn't go too wide of a net. This time I decided to watch 6 analysts. I took the final mock drafts for 6 of them. Mel Kiper, who's at ESPN, of course, the mock father, you might call him, the godfather of mocks. Todd McShay, his I don't know, what is that? Anakin Skywalker? He's been cast off from ESPN, the mothership. Todd McShay's not doing too poor. We'll get to that in a second. Peter Schrager, of course. Schrager does one mock draft every year. It's like a couple days before, so he doesn't have a lot of time to be wrong. He gets one crack at it, but because of his sources in the last couple of years, he's been money on some picks. Dane Brugler, of course, who we reference all the time from The Athletic, and Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network. Oh, wait, did I forget one? The answer was yes. It's Lance Zierlein. We're going to go through, basically, I did 2 Substack articles. You can check them both out. I did this cool little NFL logo blueprint thing because it was like, we're going back to the blueprint on this, but essentially all these guys who I have nothing against them, but if you think about mock drafts for a second, everything about it has something to do with grading, judging, being critical, and having no accountability when you do it. There's nothing's going to happen to them. It's fine, right? Wrong. Here we go. Mel Kiper can't just move past it. We looked at their first rounds only. That's the ones that they're telling you about for months and months and months. You know, all of a sudden, rounds 2 and 3 are sometimes important, but rounds 4 through 7, who's going to track that? Probably not even us. I came up with a system to try to figure out who did the best. So every analyst earned points for accuracy, weighted by how early in the draft the pick occurred. So that's the multiplier. Because nailing pick 3, you know what I'm saying? When it's there's so much more misinformation as you get further down. If you disagree with that part of the system, I would point out the fact that trading a 3rd overall pick is more important to a team than trading a 13th overall pick. So I don't know why predicting it would be less. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Close call. Right player, right team, wrong pick number. 2 points. Trade wizard. Correctly projected a trade with the right teams, the right pick, and the right player. That's a 10-pointer. And a bullseye, right player, right team, right pick number. You nailed it across the board.
So nobody got a trade wizard point then, I'm assuming.
Nobody. Yeah, not one analyst. It's hard, but out of 6 correctly called, none of them called a trade from the start to the finish. I mean, the 10-point category exists, but nobody touched it. So let's go worst to first. How about that?
Yeah. Let's see who came in on the bottom here.
Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, roughest night of the group. Outside of Fernando Mendoza at 1, and
I'm pretty sure like my little cousin would have known that pick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He nailed Bailey at 2 also, which at least one analyst went against, but that was also more consensus. So 5 of 6 analysts got those. His most notable correct call was a close call. Projected Malachi Lawrence to Dallas at pick 20, and Lawrence did go to Dallas, but at 23 via the Eagles pick rather than the Packers. He also correctly called Casey Concepcion to Cleveland at 3. So, wait, at 24. I was like, he didn't go at 3. Casey Concepcion to Cleveland at 24. He projected 4 trades, went 0 for 4 on the details. The Saints did not trade up to 3 like he thought. I mean, the Eagles trade, he went kind of wild on his final one. I think he was probably a little bit lost compared to other years and decided to just see what sticks, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Jeremiah is usually pretty good, so kind of weird that he got so much wrong this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just our scoring system. I'm not sure his bosses are going to be like, you didn't do it, but as we all know, and we've covered here, NFL Network is merging with ESPN Media and all that. So does Daniel Jeremiah need to be fighting for his job? Does he already think he's on his way out? Who knows?
Right.
So one bad night doesn't erase a long track record. 5th place, Mel Kiper, ESPN.
Okay. So the Godfather.
Yep. 4 bullseyes, Mendoza, Bailey, number 10 and 14, linemen with difficult names. But he projected Dallas trading up to 6 and Arizona trading back into the first round late via Miami. Neither happened. When you build your top 10 around 2 trades that don't materialize, every pick that was supposed to follow those trades falls apart with them. He had Cardell Tate going to Washington at 7, Sonny Styles to Tennessee at 4. Flip them, reverse it. Caleb Downs to the Giants at 5, which were reasonable reads, but didn't happen.
Yeah, that's Tate at 7 when he went 4th is kind of wild.
Nobody expected the Cardinals to actually come out for Jeremiah Love until this week when Adam Schefter just so happened to have a tip that the Cardinals were interested in Jeremiah Love on Monday of draft week to try to heat up what I assume was the trade value. But then Arizona said we were never close to actually trading the pick. We were going to take him. So we'll talk about Arizona in a second. Yeah. Did we finish Mel Kiper? Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
4th place, Todd McShay, who is at the Ringer, which they do some great content. I mean, I love some Simmons. McShay doesn't win the leaderboard, but he wins the night's most memorable moment, and it isn't even close. Before the draft, I wrote that McShay had Ty Simpson, the quarterback from Alabama, going to the Rams at 13. I called it a take so independent it borders on performance art because people were trying to debate if he would be available in the second round. Every other analyst had Simpson going late in round 1 via a Cardinals trade up or not round 1 at all. McShay simply had the Rams taking him, no trade needed. 13 picks before anyone else was projecting him to go. So, I mean, McShay, he may not be able to say he had the most right picks, but he's going to have the most memorable correct pick, which might be better for however these guys validate their existence. I don't know. Like, what do you tell your bosses? Like, he can use this Ty Simpson thing for 2 or 3 seasons now.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was right about that. That's definitely something that's going to be good for him to lean on. And I mean, he's been good at this for a long time now, so it's not really shocking.
I mean, do you know anything about Ty Simpson off the top of your head? Because I really didn't until I dove into it. He had 15 starts. He's one of these guys that probably 9 times out of 10 would have stayed in college and got more experience and gotten some more NIL money. Mm-hmm. But he took a chance, left Alabama to go pro, and now he might get to learn from Sean McVay. But, like, Sean McVay looked mad at the post-draft press conference and, like, not happy at all. That's the person they took. You would think this offensive guru, like, he's like a robot, can remember every play if you tell him the down and stuff. You think he'd be happy about a quarterback so highly drafted from Alabama, the state where the GM grew up. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that a draft pick didn't just start a divorce in LA. Maybe Sean McVay's got other things going on. Did we talk about the McHenry story last week with Diana Russini and Britt McHenry? Yeah. So, I mean, that was over Sean McVay. Maybe some of her dirty laundry. Maybe he's about to be exposed in another way in a couple days that makes it make sense, and it's got nothing to do with Ty. I don't want to read too far into it. All I'm saying is the man's was not happy.
Yeah.
So, 3rd place, I told you he'd been hot lately. He only does it once. Peter Schrager of ESPN. Schrager wins something nobody else can claim. Top 5 accuracy. He's the only analyst who correctly projected both Jeremiah Love at 3 to Arizona and Arvell Reese at 5 to the Giants in the same mock draft. Those 2 picks together earned him 16 weighted points because both carry the 2 times early round multiplier. Love at 3 was the plurality pick. Reese at 5 required believing the Ohio State edge rusher would slip past Tennessee, Washington, New Orleans, and still be sitting there for the Giants' 2nd pick of the night. Schrager also called to Baltimore 14, Baltimore's 14 pick. So 5 bullseyes total for Schrager.
So no one else had Arvell Reese going at 5 to New York.
No.
Jeez.
Everyone had yeah. I mean, people just had Reese going like later, earlier. Some people had Reese going 2nd. We'll get to that. Nobody before the draft Schrager cited an NFL GM who told him point blank to throw positional value out the window this year. So that GM was right. Point to Schrager there. Second place goes to, they no longer employ Diana Russini, but the Athletic, Dane Brugler. Probably saying his name wrong if we ever get him on. Brugler's night doesn't have one signature moment the way McShay's does, or the flashy top 5 accuracy Schrager can claim. What it has is 6 bullseyes, starting with Mendoza at 1, and consistency from the first pick through pick 19 that no other analyst can match. He correctly called Love at 3, Tyson at 8, number 10, number 14. Monroe Feeling to Carolina at 19. I mean, his biggest miss, he was the only analyst who projected Arvell Reese had 2 to the Jets over David Bailey. Everyone else had Bailey. So he chose his island, missed on 2, but hit on almost everything else. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Freeling to Carolina at 19 is pretty, that's a solid pick. Nobody else had that. So kudos to him there. That's a pick that people around here seem excited about.
Exactly, right? So the only one, number 1, Lance Zierlein, NFL Network. Zierlein wins the night on pure volume and by a comfortable margin. 8 bullseyes, more than any other analyst. And he loaded up on picks that carry the heaviest weight. Love at 3. As I said, a lot of people got that one. Tyson at 8, 10, all 2 times multipliers. 14, 22. Seattle at 32, and they take Jadarian Price, the other running back from Notre Dame. Notre Dame had, 2 running backs go in the first round? The not coming in was his Cowboys trade-up projection, had Dallas jumping to 6 for Reese, which never happened. Didn't cost him the title. When you're right on 8 picks and 6 of them are in the top 14, you win the night.
Yeah, no doubt. Congrats to Lance there. What's the biggest takeaway for you when you step back and look at the whole night?
Well, 3 things. Nobody nailed a trade. Fair enough. It's hard to do. Not one analyst correctly projected a trade with the right teams, the right pick, and the right player all together. You could argue Daniel Jeremiah was closest, but I didn't have a way to nail an almost trade. Like, he knew the Cowboys were going to go for Downs and trade up to get him. Just were wrong when it was going to happen. Right?
Yeah. No, totally.
So, I mean, the NFL draft is fundamentally unpredictable at the transactional level. Thursday kind of proved that. Yeah. Ohio State class was completely real. Reese went 5, Tate went 4, Styles went 7, Mangola went 10, Downs went 11, 5 Buckeyes in the top 11. And the receiver bet we talked about, we needed 6 wide receivers in the first round to cash plus 145. Final count. Not 6. Tate at 4, Tyson at 8, Lemon at 20, Concepcion at 24, Cooper at 30. 5 receivers. The bet did not cash, which is crazy because right before the draft started, the number moved to minus 185. Like, they made it unbettable to do the over. So Vegas was scared that was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should have came back in on the other side. I'd have to drive out of state to do it. I'd have to drive back out of state.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Probably not worth it at that point.
So a lot of people saw those articles, really appreciated everybody's feedback. If you want to see insider stuff like that, where we do grades that nobody asked for on things you didn't think you wanted to know about. Now you kind of in the back of your mind, when Lance Zierlein does a mock draft, you're going to think, maybe I'll give him a longer look, Peter Schrager, and maybe I'll think 14 times before paying ESPN to read Mel Kiper's latest mock. Because it's like, what is that? The only thing ESPN Plus has other than UFC? What is it
Seems
for?
like it. Seems like it.
What is it even for?
Yeah.
Dan,
All
get
right.
the sound effect ready.
Yeah, Dan, get the sound effect ready that you definitely know which one it is that you need to hit. Yeah, come on. Dan, what are you doing? Thank you. We got some quick hits and money stuff coming up. There's a lot here. Russini's first because it exploded while we were recording this week. So page 6, drop some more photos. Vrabel kissing Russini in 2020. Both still married, or in Russini's case, 6 months before she got married, that's totally fair. TMZ then dropped a 2024 photo of them together at a casino. Vrabel called a last-minute press conference and said very little. Then internet sleuths connected that Russini's first son, Michael, born August 2021, has the same first name as Mike Vrabel. Dave Portnoy went public saying, quote, you just can't name your kid the same name as the guy you're having an affair with. We've entered banana land with this story and nothing is off the table. And then Russini deleted her ex account.
Dave Portnoy was, as we pointed out, he was the one defending her to begin with. Like, she says there are other people. Here's photos with other people at that pool, at that same pool, which is like, how would we even know that's the same pool? It's the same furniture. Is that a type of, is that like a Marriott? Like, I don't know. Are they just like a bunch of Marriotts? Could go to different ones, find the same stuff probably somewhere. I don't know. I don't work in hotels. But what I'm saying is, like, once Portnoy turned on her, I don't think that's the reason she deleted her ex account, but it didn't help.
No.
I mean, who's hiring her now? Now I'm on your side. I thought she could come back from this because I thought it was like going to be one of these things that blows over. But now that they have photos with them like intimately holding hands in a Manhattan restaurant 6 months before, well, what is it? It's in March, and then she gets married in like August or something like that. It's like,
yeah,
I might have those dates wrong, but what I'm saying is it's like a baby amount of time. And
a baby amount of time. Yeah.
Is Mike Vrabel the father of this child?
Right. And where does I think her husband's name is Kevin. Like,
her husband's name is Kevin.
Where's Kevin in all this? Like, we haven't heard anything from Kevin.
She had a tweet that said, how many great Michaels are there?
I know.
In the NFL.
I know. Someone said something to her on another tweet of like, sounds like you need a boyfriend. And she said, like, I tell my husband that all the time. Something like, not like, that could be very playful. That could be completely innocent. But like, you hate to see that sort of thing surrounding this story because the context that it infers is not great for Diana. And I mean, she's great at her job, separate from all of this. She's an excellent reporter, like has been. So it's not like she's, it's not like this is why she's had success. Like if it indeed it is true.
I mean, but any scoops that she had on the Patriots that other people didn't get?
I guess, but was that super common? Like, I don't know.
AJ Brown. She's been saying for 6 months that AJ Brown was a done deal to the Patriots. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, well.
And now everybody's saying it. That's basically once it's past that June 1 date, they're gonna ship AJ Brown off.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's interesting. I mean, she's not.
I think Diana's really good at her job too. Yeah. I'm not pushing back against what you said. I'm just bringing up some things I heard, some stuff I'm reading. Twitter sleuths are going back. I don't know. That would be diabolical work to name your kid. Like to have a kid. All right. There's a greater than zero chance that she told her husband she had an affair with effing Mike Vrabel and was going to have to raise the kid. And this guy was like cool with it. And then like, they had another kid. Like there's a greater chance that like this is all getting out and it was all really like just established. Like Modern Families for like women in her industry, by the time you set up a family, certain things just have to be done differently. But is he cool with it ongoing? Do they have like an open marriage? They just didn't want to tell anybody because of the industry she's in. I know her husband is one of the guys at the top of Five Guys.
Oh, all right.
Like he's making money. Like he's like a big money guy at Five Guys. It's not like he's like some poor schlub.
Right.
Like,
okay.
Like if there's something to do, I bet he's got a lawyer or two, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So we'll see what happens there. If everything works out fine with them, like some guys are into that, and I'm not here to judge. I don't want my girlfriend hooking up with Mike Vrabel. Like if it's my decision, I'd like that not to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what else I saw? Former Patriots teammate was talking about how Mike Vrabel was the guy back in the day who always had the flask. And all the dudes were coming over to drink the flask. Like Vrabel was the party.
Okay.
It's all, we thought he was just like really rigid and no fun, dude. Apparently Mike's been having nothing but fun. He just makes sure you don't get it on photo. Oh,
and that's not something that typically like I don't know. It doesn't always just go away with time, right?
Nathaniel Hackett got the clown shoes Hackett kind of like, he made it look like he didn't know what he was doing one too many times, and then anything he did was inept.
Yep.
He can't shake. Yeah, can't get emasculated like that.
So what's next for this? What's next for Diana, for Mike? I mean, this is...
I don't know if you saw this. Vrabel's leaving on the third day of the draft. He's not sticking around for Saturday, 4 through 7. He's leaving to seek treatment. But people I've been talking to, like, not people who know, just people who are kind of like around the industry and stuff, like, he could get fired. If depending on how this goes, this could possibly cost him his job.
Right.
To say that Mike Vrabel came in 1 year, took the team to the Super Bowl, like he was one game from winning a Super Bowl as like a rookie coach.
Yeah.
And then could get fired before the next season. That's insanity. It's insanity.
So here's the conspiracy for you. You know who's been quiet lately is Bill and Jordan. Maybe they are getting a little scared. Like, hey, Bill, Mike might step on your legacy a little bit here. He just got to the Super Bowl quickly. Like, let's figure this out. Let's do something.
I love where your tinfoil hat is going. I appreciate it. But I would imagine that the way that team played last year, Belichick's up to here dealing with NIL and college athletes.
Oh, please. He doesn't care about UNC, man.
That's a lot of money to fail. He wants to be good at both. He wants to tell Nick Saban, I'm the best coach ever because, look, I could do it at both levels. You could never do it at the NFL.
I think he coaches this season, maybe next, and then he calls it. He's like, this isn't.
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about. He's dating a woman like, what, 50 years younger than him or something?
Yeah,
like
exactly. So why
that's
stick
not
around
a guy
and coach
who
with Tar
quits.
Heels?
That's not a guy who's quitting. He thinks he's got nothing but runway, baby. He said, I'm never gonna stop. He's Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger will never die.
It's just, it seems like a joke, man. It seems like a joke.
It is. If UNC football makes the playoffs. Whew. Anyway, speaking of satirical things like that, The Onion purchased InfoWars, I think. They tried a year ago. They keep getting, legaled out.
Did you read this on The Onion? Because that could be misleading.
No, I mean, for those that don't know, InfoWars, Alex Jones had to sell it because he told everybody Sandy Hook was a hoax. And so the parents of dead children who were murdered in their school sued his ass. And he's got to pay, and he has to move InfoWars to do that. But now he's still broadcasting on InfoWars. I don't understand how it's going to happen. But The Onion unveiled a whole new InfoWars logo that's got an onion in it. And it's like rainbow colors, like a pride flag.
Nice.
Eric Heindecker of Tim and Eric fame Tim Heidecker of Tim and Eric fame is going to be the creative director for InfoWars under The Onion. He's already done some things where he's on Instagram doing some reels, walking around talking to people. He did one where he sounds like Alex Jones at the beginning and then he coughs and he just sounds completely normal. So it doesn't look like he was doing an impression of him, but he was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's some interesting stuff going on in the satirical news beef world because InfoWars had to say on court documents it wasn't real news. It's not real information. They had to admit that to try to get out of the lawsuit.
It's crazy.
The Onion says it's satirical. So these are just two fake news agencies fighting each other, which is interesting.
But you look at something like this and it's in 5 years, could The Onion actually become a reputable news source? Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, while it was never satirical necessarily, it has always been fact-based. It was definitely birthed as a joke, kind of, let's laugh about the news. And now it's if I want actual fact-based, reliable reporting, it's where I go.
Yeah, because they show you they at least show you where they got it. So when they say something, I'm I look at the source, I'm I don't know about that.
Yeah, so it is, and the news industry in general right now is just a very interesting thing to look at from the outside.
When talking about how things evolve, this podcast, if I had told you when we started this that we'd be talking about F1 and caring about it, you would have been very confused.
Yeah.
We did more WNBA coverage than you ever thought.
Right. And it just started I think the initial idea was let's react to Sunday's football games. And it is, evolved since then. So yeah, good stuff.
Speaking of young women, Anthony Kiedis is 62. His
Ooh.
girlfriend, Eileen Kelly, wrote a column for Vogue about the benefits of age gap relationships. Let's see, pulled a quote here. There's something to be said for a man who simply had more time to get his together, and my much older boyfriend seems genuinely excited to be with me. Not like he's biding his time before he can swipe for someone better. He's fully aware that he's one lucky SOB.
That's funny. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Anthony Kiedis, of course, of Red Hot Chili Peppers, for those that don't know. Yeah, that's cool. No, that's
I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Nothing against Anthony, but he's at the age where the hair dye looks it's like you're not fooling us anymore.
Sure, but he still brings the energy. We just saw them 3 years ago, something like that.
A couple years back.
Yep. Yeah.
When they toured for that double album, it was great.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, definitely still has it, but I get your point. Still lands. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool to see her come out and kind of give a positive testimony on that sort of thing.
All right, Dan. Now I need you to use the money.
Of course.
That's the wrong one, Dan. Why do you act up like this? Why does he do this? He just quick money hits, things happening with money that actually affect you or at least make you think about you.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, think about that.
Think about me.
Think about time. Think about the passage of time, Sean, because Intel stock is up 88% this year. 88%.
Dang.
That has taken the company's market cap close to $350 billion. A level it hasn't touched since 2000, when it was the undisputed leader of semiconductor manufacturing. The turnaround is real but incomplete. The chip wars are happening at a scale most people don't fully register.
Yeah, that's insane. That 88% is like guru investing, man. If you called that, good for you. That's insanity. But I mean, hey, every laptop basically has one of those chips in there, right? So it's not hard to believe.
It's just so many different chips, chip manufacturing, AI. Let's talk about some more numbers. Michael Jackson, the biopic. Which one do you say?
Biopic.
It's expected to gross more than $60 million opening weekend in the U.S. and Canada, more than $500 million globally, despite largely negative early reviews, which tells you everything about IP, nostalgia, and the gap between critical reception and audience behavior. Please see Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I think that's one that's going to do really well, obviously, as you just indicated.
Well, and it's one of the ones, you and I both know this, right? It's like his relative is playing him, so that's going to be huge to draw. People are going to want to see how much it looks like him, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a fascinating story, right? With maybe even some unanswered questions still, especially at the end. So I'm wondering if they get into any of that, which I mean, probably not, because
it's done by the family. So I think the negative reviews probably have a lot to do with how it doesn't get into that.
Yeah, because I mean, man, the end of that man's life was there was conspiracy on conspiracy with a bunch of that stuff.
Do you remember any specifically?
Well, I mean, shoot, wasn't part of it that he was maybe harboring kids from Epstein Island? And that's what Neverland was? And people were like, oh, Michael's weird. He's got these kids over there all the time. And it's like, well, maybe he was the good guy here. I don't know.
I didn't know that. I never heard that.
And then there was a reports that he knew about the Epstein stuff, and then potentially his caretaker at the end of his life, his doctor that was responsible for his meds, was instructed to make some mistakes, maybe mix some things up, maybe skip a dose. And that's how Michael died.
I'd have to see some evidence.
Same, which is why I'm I wonder if that would get into that. And it's probably not. But I mean, there's some crazy stuff at the end of Michael Jackson's life, man. That's still worth looking into.
If you want to get a good movie review, into Biopic by saying, "Oh yeah, this person killed him,"
right? Yeah, and then
that would definitely make news.
Yeah, a sequel to a documentary.
At the end, 50 Cent just goes, "I know who shot Tupac."
See you next year.
Puff did it.
But yeah, no. So yeah, that'll be interesting. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Average cocktail in America, $13.61. In New York City, it can top $30. Nearly a third of people surveyed who drank in the last 3 months said they now pre-drink at home before going out to avoid venue prices.
Yep.
The economic squeeze is showing up in how people socialize.
1,000%.
You're going to start getting invited to a lot more pre-games again.
And pre-games is something that kind of, I feel like our generation really mastered, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit too braggadocious there, but like, I just remember we always did that, right? You know, start the night at the apartment, get where you want to be, then go out for the fun and not break the bank. You know, we'd have nights out until closing time for $30.
Yeah.
And nowadays, there's this really great cocktail bar down the street, man, that I love going to, but a drink there after a tip is going to be close to $20. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, so yeah, no, I do this now with my friends. Like we start at home and then I'll go out and order a Miller High Life. Shout out Miller High Life. Like spend $3-4 on a beer, and you know, it's just something to sip on while I'm out.
I mean, what drives me nuts too is how much it is to get a mocktail.
Yeah, just to look the part. I used to go out with somebody that would literally just do water and a lime, like, because that doesn't cost really anything. Like
water and a lime.
I mean, that's what you're doing with a mocktail. Some people enjoy the taste, sure, but I imagine about half of it is like the social perception. Like you want to kind of look like you're there drinking with everybody. So yeah, in fact, that can get pricey. It's kind of crazy.
I'm sure they made more money on cocktails last year, but now we turn our attention to the Sphere in Las Vegas, which made, talk about money, right? $379 million on 1.7 million tickets last year, making it the highest grossing arena in the world. It opened nearly $1 billion over budget and years late. The formula it found: bands with decades of greatest hits who can draw a massive existing fan base. The tech is not the draw, the catalog is the draw. So like,
yeah,
you see like John Mayer with like the Grateful Dead guys there, and then like you get there, and then the Sphere is like doing the rest, but you're getting them there because of, I get to see this band at the Sphere, it seems like.
Yeah, that's fair. I wonder if it would be different without the tech though, like, because that's why I want to go. Like badly. I would love to go to a really cool EDM show there. I think that would be just probably the perfect thing for it. I don't know how that would work with moving around, like mobility, because the shots I've seen there on social, it's a very tiered seating arrangement. So like not a ton of room to like get up and move necessarily. But
you got to be careful. You got to be careful in Vegas because like we were going to go see like Zed or Zed's Dead or something like that.
Yeah.
You pay like $80 to get into the room where you can hear the room.
Sure,
like,
but if it's at a place like the Sphere,
the venue, that's what I'm saying. And that's what I think is part of the draw. I think if you're in Vegas, you know what the Sphere is. It's not a random club in a club in a club in a club.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's almost like the performer, and this is kind of goes against everything I love about live music, which is weird to say, but like the performer really isn't the focus in that venue.
Right.
It is the venue and the show, and it's like I'm not really worried if I can see the actual performer.
Well, it's kind of like Red Rocks in a way.
I guess, yeah.
In a very different way.
But a Red Rock show, no one's going to be like, "Oh, where were you sitting?" They'd be like, "That's awesome! You got to go to a Red Rock show." Like,
I've been to Red Rocks while a show was happening, but I didn't go to the show.
Yeah,
you can hike around Red Rocks for free, and it's like we were on a hike, and I didn't know there was a show that day, and all of a sudden we come up the stairs, and there's just more people barely clothed than you would have thought I was at a beach all of a sudden. I was like, oh, it must be an EDM show. And you could hear it echoing through the trees and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. We got to get out to the Sphere, though. We'll go live when we get there.
Oh, we got to go to the Las Vegas Grand Prix. We're looking at it. If the boys get out there to Las Vegas, maybe a Sphere show is what we actually can do during the races or something, because we're not going to pay for the race. But we could go to FP1, FP2. We could see some action, man.
I got friends going to FP1 and 2 in Miami. Like it's doable. Yeah. Speaking of,
Cadillac released Miami merch that's pretty sick. Like just the Miami, because it's like the home race.
Right.
So, I mean, just food for thought. I know you're not exactly a Cadillac guy. You're a McLaren guy. But as you're getting some merch, I was like, man, it might be kind of cool just to have a Miami Cadillac shirt for like no reason. Like from the first year they were there. Like that's a good reason to have it.
Yeah, no, it really is. That's definitely cool.
And it's a big week in Formula One as we F around here. Starting with the news that actually matters most before Miami. All stakeholders agreed on refinements to the 2026 regulations. FIA, all 11 team principals, all 5 power unit manufacturers, Formula One management, everyone in the room, everyone signed off. These changes take effect from the Miami Grand Prix weekend.
So the meetings during the break, they were productive. We actually got something out of them.
They did. I mean, here's what changed. Trying to make this as easy as I can. On qualifying, the maximum permitted recharge is being reduced from 8 megajoules to 7. The goal there, reduce excessive harvesting and encourage more consistent flat-out driving. So the target is cutting super clipping duration to approximately 2 to 4 seconds per lap, down from the brutal clips we saw at Suzuka. Peak super clip power is also being increased from 250 kilowatts to 350 kilowatts. That means less time spent recharging, less driver workload managing energy. With me so far?
Yeah. Yep.
The number of events where alternate lower energy limits can apply goes from 8 to 12 races, giving more flexibility for different circuit types.
Okay, so it seems like they were noticing people being a little conservative, and they're saying like, "Hey, don't just save this battery power all the time. As a matter of fact, you can't save as much anymore. You need to use it. You need to make this a little more exciting." Is that what they're going for? But I mean, there was already more passing going on than in recent seasons.
I mean, essentially the drivers were unhappy. And you heard several team principals say it flat out. Like at least one of them said it flat out. Can't remember who, but he said the drivers are the product. Like if they're not happy, the sport's not in a good place.
So I mean,
IndyCar. There's people coming out of IndyCar saying that it's the better sport now than F1.
Right.
Like trying to kind of compete. All of a sudden, NASCAR is sitting third comfortably.
So is this something you think that's going to stick around, these kind of new regulations, or are they maybe going to roll this back in a year or two and say, we weren't quite ready to move forward with that more hybrid approach just yet, it seems?
It doesn't seem like there's any rolling back. The money that all these teams have already sunk into these cars and these models that they're probably looking into next year, there's no way.
All right. Well, interesting to follow, though. I'll be curious to see how this does affect, the number of passes and things like that happen. But what about the race itself? Any changes there?
In race conditions, the maximum power available through the boost is now capped at plus 150 kilowatts, or the car's current power level at activation if it's higher. This is specifically designed to limit sudden performance differentials. So the situation that created Ollie Behrman crash at Suzuka, MGUK deployment stays at 350 kilowatts in key acceleration zones from corner exit to braking point, including overtaking zones, but drops to 250 kilowatts in other parts of the lap. Safety at speed while maintaining overtaking opportunities. So essentially, that near miss from Behrman, or the crash from Behrman, and then the near miss later in that race, they were saying it's the same thing. Some of these cars were just randomly like boosting when the driver didn't know, and all of a sudden they were about to hit somebody. So they had to do something where it kind of slowed down at times, went up at times.
Okay. What about the race starts?
New low power start detection system has been developed. If a car shows abnormally low acceleration shortly after clutch release, the system automatically triggers MGUK deployment to ensure minimum acceleration, which removes the risk of a slow car being hit from behind at the start. There's also a visual warning system, flashing lights on the affected car, rear and lateral, to alert following drivers. They also fixed a previously identified energy counter inconsistency at the start of the formation lap. And in wet conditions, tire blanket temperatures for intermediate tires are being increased for better initial grip. So maximum ERS deployment is reduced to limit torque in low grip conditions, and rear light systems have been simplified for better visibility.
Lots of changes, actually. Seemed like they came out of this meeting.
I mean, what a difference a conflict with Iran did to this sport, huh? I mean, I feel like if they were prepping for races, they wouldn't have had time to make all these changes.
Right.
But I mean, the key phrase is from the Miami Grand Prix weekend onwards, except the race start changes, which are being tested in Miami and then formally adopted based on feedback. These are not final answers to everything, but they're a meaningful step. And like you said, the fact that it all happened so quickly and there's so much of it, people are clearly doing a lot of work.
Right. Yeah, clearly. Sticking with F1, Zach Brown on A and B teams and the Mercedes Alpine talks here. He had some strong words this week about team ownership links in F1.
Yeah. McLaren CEO Zach Brown said it would be a mistake for the sport to allow closer ownership ties between F1 teams. I mean, interesting that he would say that for McLaren, right? He has been saying this for years about Red Bull and Racing Bulls, called it a serious issue for the fairness of the sport for fans. And this week he was asked directly about Mercedes being in talks to purchase a 24% minority stake in Alpine, the stake currently held by 3 American investment groups, including Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney's Maximum Effort Investments, Redbird Capital, and Otro Capital, backed by Rory McIlroy, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce.
Gosh, that's a star-studded cast of people.
That's what it really is. I mean, Brown said his view hasn't changed at all, that it applies to anybody and everybody, AB teams, co-ownership. His analogy: can you imagine a Premier League game when you've got 2 teams owned by the same group? One's going to get regulated if they lose, and the other can afford to lose. That's what we run the risk of. He also noted that McLaren had to wait for Lambiase to complete gardening leave before he can join, possibly not until 2028, while employees between partner teams can move overnight. There's a real financial and sporting competitive disadvantage he's pointing to. So
yeah. Another interesting note there. Brown said that former Red Bull team principal Christian Horner is a great operator whose track record speaks for itself, and that he'd be shocked if he wasn't back in the sport. So Horner's reportedly one of the interested buyers in that Alpine stake.
Mercedes trying to just throw a knife in it and stop him. Just the juice. Well, if you thought we were done talking about the Middle East, wrong. If I get the quote, the Scrubs quote, wrong, you're wrong. Formula One announced Friday that the Turkish Grand Prix at Istanbul Park is returning to the calendar from 2027 on a 5-year deal through 2031. Turkey was last on the full-time calendar in 2011. It came back as a stand-in race in 2020, 2021 during COVID. Lewis Hamilton clinched his record-equaling 7th world championship there in 2020. Valtteri Bottas won the 2021 edition.
So why now? Why is this the right time?
Well, the Portuguese Grand Prix at Portimão is on a 2-year deal. So those two replace the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, which has its final race this August, and the Barcelona Catalunya circuit, which rotates with Spa-Francorchamps from 2028. Basically, we're switching out a bunch of them, just a couple Dutch ones. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has been clear on keeping the calendar at 24 races rather than expanding to the maximum 25.
Yeah, I mean, Istanbul Park was genuinely loved by the drivers. We had Herman Tilke designed it. That's the highlight, is that long left-hand turn 8, with peak lateral G-force of about 5 Gs. It's good news for the calendar, good news for drivers who remember what it felt like to actually race there.
And it's an interesting thing to announce after all these rule regulations. It's like, okay, now that you guys have had like less than half a week to look at all these rule regulations, if you're not following this podcast, for instance, where we just did it for you, then you're like already distracted by memories of other Turkish Grand Prix. I mean, like the difference between the F1 website and other sites that cover F1 was like, I had to scroll to find the regulations and make sure I had everything correct. And like their whole front page is already Turkey, and they came out Monday. Yeah. And the sport's off for a month. How did that happen?
They were able to focus on everything but racing, it seems.
They're like, oh, here it goes.
Which is, I mean, you know, props to them. That's the way to take advantage of the time.
Man. Well, Miami Grand Prix weekend is May 1st through 3rd, 1 week away. Is it 1 week away? Really?
Yeah, next weekend, right? Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's right. That's right.
Killing me. Few things to know. First, this is a sprint weekend. There's a sprint race on Saturday in addition to the main Grand Prix on Sunday. Because of the sprint format, there's only one practice session, which has been extended to 90 minutes, specifically in recognition of the 5-week gap since the last race and the newly announced regulatory changes. You know, I haven't been in the car in a month. You changed all the rules. We'd like some extra time. So FP1 runs noon to 1:30 local time in Miami Friday. Sprint qualifying is at 4:30 p.m. Friday. Sprint race Saturday at noon. Qualifying Saturday at 4 p.m. Grand Prix Sunday at 4 p.m. Kimi Antonelli leads the Drivers' Championship. Mercedes leads the Constructors.
And Cadillac is getting their first home race here in the States.
And Cadillac is doing a free fan experience at Jungle Plaza in Miami's Design District on May 2nd and 3rd. Simulators, merchandise, food, live music, Jim Beam, cocktails. Sergio Perez makes a personal appearance Saturday evening after qualifying.
Very cool.
So, right? Full Miami GP betting card drops before qualifying. We'll have it at hammertruckproductions.com, or right after qualifying, rather. And we'll talk about it here if we can. Did I lose you for a second?
Just a second. I'm back, though.
So,
live radio.
That's true. Zierlein graded the draft best. Todd McShay made the best single call. Nobody got a trade right. F1 fixed its cars and heads to Miami in a week. Diana Russini's story is still moving. I mean, The Onion owns InfoWars now, maybe. And Wit and Grit will be back next week to break down everything we know ahead of Miami.
Yeah, that's right. We're eager to get back to F1, have some more deep dive coverage for you guys, and we will see you next week.
Peace out. Oh, now Dan's on it. Producer Dan.